Hey guys, so today we're going to be quickly looking at how do we compare our acquisition channels. So how do we quickly see which channel's working better than the other and which channel's working better than the other in which aspects. So when you talk about something being better than something else, so one channel being better than another channel, you really want to define how you measure the better, right? So is it better in terms of conversion? Is it better in terms of um, just traffic acquisition? Is it better at retaining the traffic? So do people stay on there for longer on one channel when they get acquired through one channel versus another channel? Is it something else altogether, right? So first of all, we want to, you know, have an idea of what do we want to, evaluate the channels on, what kind of things, is it the top of funnel acquisition of traffic? Is it retention of traffic, engagement of traffic? Is it then conversion of traffic? Is it lifetime value, and so on and so forth, right? So we can do that very quickly in Google Analytics. And so if you go into your Google Analytics account, on the left-hand side, you'll have a menu, obviously, and then you'll want to go into the acquisition section. And under acquisition, you'll want to go into traffic. And then once you get into traffic, you'll want to select the channels, right? And what you will see is typically see something like this. This is the default view that you see. So it's a table of just a lot of different numbers. So you've got bounce rate, sessions, session duration, and then on the left hand here, you've got the different acquisition channels, right? Now you can also select, different source or medium type of splits, but default grouping here is usually really good, just as a starting off point. Once you've got this, then you want to compare the channels, right? Now, one way of comparing channels is just by looking at the columns and going, okay, well, new users, this social has, for example, the best performance in terms of attracting new users compared to direct versus, or compared to organic search, right? And then you can just go, further to the left or to the right, and then you go, okay, well, in terms of engagement or like traffic, how engaged the traffic is, and one proxy of that is session duration. You know, people that come on through the social channels stay on the site for on average of 1 minute 22 seconds, right? Versus people that come through organic search, they stay on the site for 3 minutes 43 seconds, right? So 3 minutes 43 is obviously a lot higher than social. So in terms of engagement of the traffic, you would say that organic search is better than social, better than direct, better than email in some cases, and then referral as well to an extent, right? If it's conversion rate, then you look at this column and then compare against, right? So that's the simplest first way of comparing comparing channels when you look at Google Analytics, right? But what most people don't, here's the secret. So what most people don't know is they don't look at these other settings here. So here you can actually see that this is just the data side and the default view is just the data view, right? You've got percentages as well, so you can convert these numbers into percentages, right? But then you've got performance. So this is just another way of looking at it. So this is basically giving you a graph and graphing these numbers. So it's exactly the same as the columns, except you're looking at one metric at a time, as opposed to like 5 or 6 metrics all in one row, Then the other way to look at it here is the comparison. So this one is actually comparison view. So comparison of what, right? So this gives you a couple different ways of comparing channels, right? So firstly, you can actually compare. So these both of the metrics here are set to users. You can set them to other metrics as well, right? But the default set to users. So let's say, how do we read this? So in terms of users, attraction of like attracting users to the site, social wins out. So that's the biggest. And this column here actually compares user traffic, the social channel compared to the average of all the channels. So compared to the site average. So let's say the site average for like on average of on a month is like 9,000 or something like that. 5,000 of that is like whatever, the average, it's 220% above the average, right? So obviously it's the site average is not 9,000, it's way above, way below 5,000 because it's probably like, I don't know, 2.5 to something, given that this is 2,000, this is 229%. And then this one again is so 99% below. So it's saying that the other channel, which has got 3, is 99% below the average, right? So the other thing you can do here is you can actually say, well, I want to only look at new users, so I want to order by new users. So these don't change because it's still users right here. And it's still comparing to the average, the site average, but this column changes. And then you can say, look, you can compare one channel against the other for new users. But then if I change this column to new users, then it compares the site average, the monthly site average, or the average of new users coming in versus the channel average here. So this again, channel is saying that 221%. Social is bringing in 221% above the site average, and makes sense because the site average is like, I don't know what it is, but probably around 2,500. Given that, just if you look at this one, 4,300 social is double the next one, and basically all the rest. That would basically suggest that you're going to see this kind of number here for social, right? So very quickly, if you're looking at this view, very quickly you can see social and direct outperform the average channel acquisition, right? And then you can just keep, changing the metrics. Boom. Oh, okay. Organic search and referral and an email as well in terms of pages per session. So how deep do they go into the website? Very quickly, there's a whole different picture, right? So social actually is one of the worst performing in terms of depth on the site, right? Let's see average session duration. So straight away here, again, social, one of the worst, not the worst, but one of the worst, right? And again, the organic and referral come out on top. So this is actually quite consistent on, compared to averages. So organic and referral are usually more engaged traffic sources. Social is usually the most volume, but again, it's a variety of traffic in terms of it's cold, medium, warm, medium warm or warm, and then the hot traffic coming in as well. So that's kind of how you view this. What else can we see? So there's a few other settings here you can look at, but that's just, that's a graphic in terms of word cloud in terms of by number of users. If you change it by sessions, you'll go change the size of these in terms of how, social's got the biggest, direct second, so forth. If you go to session, it'll be organic search and then organic search referral again. So that's the same. It's telling the same story but in a different way. So what you can do with this is obviously doesn't really make much sense to view it this way because you can't see a lot of the detail, the numbers, the differences between the actual numbers, right? But what you can use this particular setting for in Google Analytics is if you just screenshot this or screen capture this, you can paste it into a report, and it's a very quick visual to sort of get people thinking about different things, right? This one here is just a pivot table, basically. So it's pivoting against default social channel against default social channel. So here you're always gonna get this diagonal view here, right? But if we change this pivot by social pivot metrics, select let's keep it users. Pivot by exit. Exit. Let's go source. So here you've got social, then the top here changes to source, right? So social, mobile Facebook is obviously social, right? But here you've got Facebook here as well, right? Comes under social. So now straight away you can split this 5,229 into a more granular way. So this one's got a lot more columns, and you probably play around with which metric you put on the left-hand side, which metric or which dimension you put on the horizontal axis here. You want to play around with that so you can see, maybe just put one that has 2 or 3 categories here, 2 or 3 categories here. And you can by all means make up your own dimension as well. So that way you don't have to deal with multiple pages and multiple pages here as well. So that's these settings here for you in a nutshell. So don't forget to play around with these. These are quite useful, and basically nobody uses these to sort of help them out when it can actually make it faster to do what you want to be doing with Google Analytics. Thanks very much, guys.